Today we are going to learn to create a frequency distribution and histogram using Excel 2007. I am using the Internet Use Data file. First, sort the data by highlighting it and then choosing A to Z. Sort smallest to largest. We will find the range of values by subtracting the lowest value, now found first, from the highest value, now found last. In this case it would be 86 minus 7, which is 79. We will be using 6 classes. In order to determine the class width, we need to divide the range, which is 79, by 6. So 79 divided by 6 turns out to be 13.17. We always round up to the next whole number, even if our class width turns out to be a whole number. So our class width is going to be 14. We will be counting by 14 today. Now we will determine the lower class limits, or LCLs. We start with the min, in this case 7. To this we add the class width, which is 14. So 7 plus 14 is 21. That will be the lower class limit of the second class. We will be doing this for each class until we get all 6 of them. There's an easy way to do it on Excel. If we highlight the 7 and the 21 together, if we go to the fill handle, which is a small square on the bottom right hand corner, and position our cursor properly, notice that when we position it properly it changes shape. At that point, hold down the cursor and drag until you have created 6 lower class limits. Now we're going to create our upper class limits. The upper class limit of a class is 1 less than the lower class limit of the next class. So for our first upper class limit, we have to look at the lower class limit of the second class. The second class lower class limit is 21. 1 less than that would be 20, which is the upper class limit of the first class. To get the second upper class limit, we need to look at the third lower class limit. The third lower class limit is 35. 1 less than 35 is 34. Once again, we can highlight both together and then drag it down. This time we could just double click and Excel will fill them in. Now we're going to get the class midpoints. They're also sometimes called class marks. A class midpoint is halfway between the lower class limit and the upper class limit, which means that's the average of those two numbers. So we're going to go to the function wizard, insert function, up here on our toolbar. So we're going to click on f of x. It's almost always the case that average will be one of our choices on the most recently used list. But if it doesn't happen to be, we want to come up to select a category, choose the down arrow and choose statistical. Average will be the second choice. We can say OK. Now we're being asked which numbers we want to average. If we move that out of the way, we're seeing that Excel is wanting to average the 2 numbers to the left, which is what's in E2 and in F2. That's what we want, so we just need to say OK. Once we've gotten the first one, we can just position our cursor properly over the fill handle and double click, and Excel will automatically fill in the rest. Now that we're here, we're ready to go to data analysis, and we're ready to make a histogram. So we want to go to the Data tab, and we want to choose Data Analysis. The thing that we want to make is a histogram, so we're going to choose Histogram and say OK. The first thing it asks us for is the input range, which is our data. We can type in the data. In this case it would be A2 colon A51, or we can just highlight that. The bin range is our upper class limits. Very important that the bin range is asking us for our upper class limits, not our lower class limits or our class midpoints, upper class limits. And now we want to choose our output range. Notice that when we click on output range, it automatically puts our cursor back in input range, which is not what we want. We don't want to wipe out the data that we just put in, so we have to click in the box next to output range. We need to click right in that box, and now we need to click where we want to put the output range. Put a check mark in chart output and then say OK. Excel has now created a frequency distribution and a histogram. They both need to be reformatted, so now we're going to work on that. Let's reformat the histogram, and that will automatically fix up the frequency distribution. The first thing that we need to do is get rid of this frequency. Click on it and hit delete. Next, we want to get rid of this more right over here. Notice that if we come and hit the delete key, the word more goes away, but the formatting doesn't. It remains on here. To get rid of that, what we want to do is click on the home ribbon and come to delete, and notice now that that's missing. The next thing we want to take care of is a histogram should not have space between the bars. Pick any bar, double click, it brings up the chart tools on the top, and we want to go to quick chart layouts and click on it. When we click on it, we're looking for layout number 8, which is in the second column, third row, and as soon as we click on it, it takes the space out of the bars. If you like, you can pick a different format for it or not, doesn't matter. And we want to retitle the histogram. In this case, the title should be Internet Use. And we want to retitle bins with the proper unit. These numbers happen to be measured in minutes, so we will retitle the x-axis with minutes. Now there's one last problem. The problem is that this bar has a 20 in the middle, and 20 is the upper class limit. It should be on the line in between the first bar and the second bar. We cannot do that. So what we are going to do is we are going to use the class midpoints that we calculated to replace those upper class limits in our frequency distribution and on our histogram. So we want to highlight them and copy them. There are any number of ways to copy. I am just going to use the copy icon up on the home ribbon. Control C works, or also right click copy works. Now when we go to paste them, I want to show you something. Don't do this. If we just go and paste, well, that didn't work. Those aren't my class midpoints. The reason is that I just pasted a formula, and I don't want to paste the formula. I want to paste the values. So I'm going to undo that, and now we're going to do it correctly. If you right click on the 20, it brings up this dialog box, and what we want to go to is we want to go to Paste Special. Now under Paste Special, what I want to show is that I want to paste just the values. So I'm clicking on values and I'm going to say OK. Notice that we have now replaced the upper class limits with the class midpoints, and we have relabeled the histogram accordingly, and now this is correct. If I come over here and change bin to class midpoint, I am done. And now I have a frequency distribution and a histogram, both correctly formatted.